How does the face of a billion-dollar pizza empire become the reason it almost crumbled? This is the story of Papa John's, a brand that started in the back of a broom closet, rose to the top of the pizza wars, and then watched it all collapse because of the man who built it, John Schnatter, better known as Papa. John was once America's pizza king. His commercials were everywhere, his slogan was iconic, and his company was unstoppable. But in less than a decade, that same man went from boardroom hero to late-night punchline.
Schnatter, you might remember, was fired from Papa John's last year after he used the N-word on a conference call. Oh, Schnatter really schnat the bed.
So what really happened? How did Papa John's go from one of the fastest-growing pizza chains in the world to a brand desperately trying to erase its own founder? Let's rewind to the beginning, the unlikely rise of John Schnatter and the pizza empire that would change fast food forever. Before Papa John's became a billion-dollar brand, it started with one man, John Schnatter. John was born in Jeffersonville, Indiana, in 1961. He grew up working hard and had a strong drive for business. After graduating college, he decided to take a big risk. He sold his beloved 1971 Camaro to buy pizza equipment and set up shop in the back of his father's tavern. He literally started with a broom closet, a small oven, and a dream. From that tiny space, John began making pizzas for bar customers. Word spread fast about the quality of his food. The slogan, "Better Ingredients, Better Pizza," was not just a line. It was his promise to deliver something fresher than the competition. His pizzas stood out because they tasted more authentic than the big chains. By 1984, Papa John's was officially founded. In just 1 year, he had moved into his first proper store and began building momentum. The vision was simple: provide a better product and let the customer taste the difference. John was not trying to copy Pizza Hut or Domino's. He wanted Papa John's to feel like the premium option. Through the late 80s and early 90s, the company grew quickly. More franchises opened, more commercials hit the airwaves, and John himself became the face of the brand.
Papa John's now the fastest growing pizza company.
Using their expensive sauce, they'll never last. For all of you that helped us prove that quality is not a fad, here's a special thank you.
2 large, 1-topping Papa John's pizzas for just $11.99.
2 for $11.99, they'll really go broke now. Eat.
His story, the college kid who sold his car and started from nothing, became part of the company's identity. That personal connection helped customers trust the brand and fueled the expansion that would soon take Papa John's nationwide. In the early 1990s, Papa John's was on fire. The brand was growing faster than almost every other pizza chain in the country. Customers loved the quality and the slogan. Better ingredients, better pizza made the company stand out in a crowded market. Papa John's quickly became a real threat to Pizza Hut and Domino's, who had long dominated the pizza industry. Papa John's positioned itself as the premium choice, not the cheapest option, but the one that tasted the best. The strategy worked. Sales skyrocketed and more franchises opened across the United States. By the mid-1990s, Papa John's had over 500 stores, and the momentum only grew stronger. Commercials were everywhere, and John Schnatter was always front and center. He was not just the founder, he was the face of the company. He appeared in ads smiling proudly with a fresh pizza in his hands, and that personal image made customers feel connected to the brand.
Hey, Pop, I got a question.
Yeah.
Doesn't it seem like Joe only shows up during the playoffs when we do a buy one, get one free deal?
You think he just wants that free pizza?
Hello?
Huh?
No.
This is the free one, right?
In 1996, Papa John's went public on the stock market. That move gave the company a massive boost in funding and opened the door for nationwide expansion. Within just a few years, the chain grew into the thousands and began competing head-to-head with the biggest names in the business. Papa John's also made smart marketing moves. The company invested heavily in sports sponsorships, most famously with the NFL. During games, millions of fans saw Papa John's logos on TV and on the field, and that partnership made the brand feel larger than life. Papa John's was no longer just a pizza chain. It was becoming a household name across America. By the early 2000s, Papa John's was at its peak. The company had thousands of stores, billions in revenue, and a strong reputation for quality. The rise was undeniable. John Schnatter had built a pizza empire from a broom closet, and it looked unstoppable. But as history shows, nothing stays on top forever, and the cracks were already beginning to show. At the height of its success, Papa John's looked unstoppable. But behind the scenes, small cracks were forming that would eventually grow into massive problems. John Schnatter was not just the founder, he was the public face of the company. His personality and his image were tied directly to the brand. This worked well when things were good, but it also meant that every misstep he made reflected back on Papa John's. One of the first controversies came in 2012 when Schnatter openly criticized the Affordable Care Act. He claimed that Papa John's would have to raise pizza prices if the law passed. The comments sparked backlash because many saw it as a billionaire complaining about having to give employees health insurance. For a brand built on being family-friendly, this moment damaged the company's image. Then, in 2017, Schnatter made headlines again when he blamed the NFL for Papa John's declining sales. At the time, Papa John's was the official pizza sponsor of the league, and Schnatter publicly criticized how the NFL handled player protests during the national anthem. He said that the protests were hurting the league and hurting pizza sales. The statement ignited a political firestorm, and the brand became caught in a culture war. Customers who disagreed with his stance began boycotting, and even those who supported him often did not want politics mixed in with pizza. The NFL quickly distanced itself from Papa John's and eventually ended the sponsorship deal. These moments might not have completely destroyed the company on their own, but they built a reputation for Schnatter as being outspoken in the wrong way. Instead of keeping the brand focused on pizza, he dragged it into heated national debates. That is when Papa John's started to slip. Sales slowed down. Public image weakened, and investors began to worry. By the late 2010s, the company was still large, but the shine was gone. Papa John's was no longer the fun family brand on TV. Instead, it was becoming the pizza chain known for controversy. The cracks were no longer small. They were spreading fast, and the biggest scandal was still yet to come. In 2018, the biggest scandal in Papa John's history exploded. John Schnatter was on a conference call when he used a racial slur. The call was supposed to be media training to help him avoid future controversies, but instead, it ended his career. When the recording leaked, the backlash was immediate and overwhelming. The public turned on him fast. Employees, shareholders, and franchise owners demanded action. This was not just another PR headache. This was a brand crisis. Within weeks, John Schnatter was forced to resign as chairman of the board, and his face disappeared from Papa John's commercials and ads. The man who built the company from a broom closet was suddenly erased from his own empire. The damage, though, was already done. Sales plunged. Customers who once loved the brand did not want to be associated with it anymore. Franchise owners struggled to keep stores profitable. The controversy stained Papa John's reputation in a way that would take years to repair. Desperate to rebuild, the company brought in new leadership. They appointed Rob Lynch, a former Arby's executive, as CEO. They redesigned their commercials, rebranded their image, and distanced themselves from John Schnatter as much as possible. They even changed the logo slightly and dropped the apostrophe in John's to symbolically move on. But Schnatter refused to stay quiet. He went on a media tour claiming he had been set up. He accused the board of betrayal and said Papa John's had lost its way. In one infamous interview, he declared he had eaten over 40 pizzas in 30 days to test quality, and he insisted the pizza was worse without him. These bizarre statements only made him seem more bitter and out of touch.
I've had over 40 pizzas in the last 30 days. Living currently in Mark Shapiro should be in jail. He has no pizza experience. The record will be straight.
Why not set the record straight now? I mean, what is it about the record that's not straight?
Stay tuned.
While Papa John's worked on rebuilding Domino's and Pizza Hut pushed forward, Papa John's had to fight not only for sales, but for credibility. In the years after the scandal, Papa John's slowly recovered thanks to new marketing campaigns, celebrity partnerships, and focusing on delivery technology. But even with the rebound, the brand has never fully escaped the shadow of its founder. The rise and fall of Papa John's is more than just a story about pizza. It is about how one man's personality became so tied to a company that when he fell, the company nearly collapsed with him. From humble beginnings in a broom closet to a billion-dollar empire to a brand fighting for redemption. Papa John's shows us that success is fragile and reputation can vanish overnight. The story of Papa John's is not just about pizza, it is about how fragile success can be. One wrong move can cost you money, but the wrong words can cost you everything. John Schnatter built an empire from a broom closet, but his controversies nearly burned it to the ground. Today, Papa John's still exists, and it has recovered in some ways, but it will never fully escape the shadow of its founder. What was once the pizza chain with the friendly commercials is now remembered by many as the brand tied to scandal and controversy. And that is the lesson here. Reputation matters far more than you might think. A single decision can rewrite your legacy overnight. So what do you think? Did Papa John's deserve to fall this far? Or did John Schnatter get treated unfairly? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because we have more deep dives into the rise and fall of brands, celebrities, and internet stories coming soon. This is just one story in a much bigger series, and you won't want to miss the next one.